Left jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best, you gotta show me son. Actions over words, baby boy, is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come back. Sports, talking way too much, world come back. Sports, talking way too much, world come back. Sports, 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 sports.
First in the building, Carlos Rosado is on deck for the PM version of WCS, dropping another hot one. You already know WCS salute A-side. Official salute to the hottest chat in the MFing game. A-side, 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 A-side official, y'all. You already know. Big shout out to y'all that's on deck. Man, I decided to drop in, and I was thinking, I said, why not just wait till in the morning? But I said, no, what better day? What better day to close out Tuesday? Since Thurman is all over the place right now, Crawford is goddamn dropping whole bombs, and goddamn Shakur Stevens and Frank Martin can't negotiate, a freaking tricycle race. I said, why not come over here and goddamn put a late night in? Smoke Sessions, Sports and Entertainment. What's good? WCS about to get them. I have questions. That's all. I just have questions. That's all. I'm not going to go heavy with the hot grease on Thurman, because what he's doing is typical of, someone that wants that attention, and they want to try to poke, and hopefully get Crawford to say, you know what? Since you're talking, let's go. That's pretty much what Thurman wants. You know what I'm saying? That pretty much what Thurman wants, that attention. He wants that attention to be of value. If he can get Crawford to feel some type of way, he would definitely like that attention to be of value. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Ray Sam in the building. What's good, WCS in the chat? Yes, sir, man. I see y'all on deck. Man. Appreciate you pulling up. Samuel is on deck. Late night dinner. Yes, sir. We had to come with the hot grease on Keith Thurman. I couldn't let him slide out Tuesday until Wednesday thinking nobody's seeing what he's talking about. I couldn't let him do that. I couldn't, especially since Crawford has already put him on the at notice. Crawford already done put him on the at notice. That Keith couldn't even beat a 50,000-year-old Manny Pacquiao. Dude, it's a duck. Damn, I think that's the oldest fight I ever known. Damn, 50,000 years old. I need to go to the Philippines tonight and find out what Manny Pacquiao is on. Quick. I need to find out what he owned. WJ Luckett in the building. What's good with it, brother? Bud was stopped Danny and Keefe in the same night. I don't know if that's far out enough for me to reel it back in, even though I enjoy imaginary sarcasm, sci-fi. I enjoy that. But that right there in the same night, I don't know, man. I can't really pull that in, bro. Penny 216, salute to you. He said Thurman couldn't beat Spence. That's true. I mean, Thurman couldn't beat Spence if they, was to fight sometime on another, because when he had the belts, he didn't see no parts of Spence. He had other shit going on. You know what I'm saying? He had other stuff going on. So Errol Spence, man, that could have been good or bad for Spence. Back then, Thurman was one time. He was boxing. That might have been all bad. You know what I'm saying? It would have been a good matchup, but it wouldn't have been, in hindsight. You know how you look at things in hindsight and you saying, oh man, a Manny Pacquiao beat you, man. You weren't gonna beat Spence. But come on, look when he fought Manny, though. Look when he fought Manny. Seriously. Thurman hasn't looked good in a fight in 5 years. Damn, y'all coming hard at Thurman. Okay. God damn it. Unruliness. God damn, unruliness, man. They don't care, man. They blowing the chat up. Thinker stink on deck. What's good with it? Bruce Gas Boxing Jazz, some more the OG in the building. Salute to you, Bruce. He said the Errol Spence landing in the hospital bed would beat Thurman. Now, I don't know. I don't know what you have in that cup, but you need to lightly place that on the counter and bag the fuck away. Okay? Because obviously that shit is potent. You know what I'm saying? You need to bag the fuck away from that table. For real, that counter. Put that down. Put that cup down. Real. That shit you got in there, goddamn, that ooh-wee, man, that you need to leave that alone. He said the Errol Spence in the bed. Now, you wrong for that, man. You are wrong for that, man. Yeah, he only had 3 fights in 6 years, something like that. Shout out to Andrew Charles in the building. What's good with Andrew? So this what we're gonna do, man. We're gonna listen to some audio of somebody's favorite fighter, Keith Thurman. And WCS is gonna clean up on aisle 5. You know what I'm saying? Because this is absolutely, this situation right here is an effect of Crawford just goddamn opening up on fully auto. Crawford went to Twitter and he did not have the safety on the keyboard. And what he did was start sending shots down range. Ready on the left, ready on the right. You may commence firing when your target appears. That's exactly what Crawford did. And in the process of firing down range, there were some victims that was the target that was hit with these tweets. One was Danny Garcia, who responded and say, I don't need to fight you. But Thurman took it a step further and he went a little bit detailed because Thurman loved hearing himself talk. So let's listen to some of what he had to say, okay? And this is via Fight Hub TV, via Fight Hub TV.
Guys washed up now, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of stuff being said about me and my career, but there's an old saying that Ben Getty used to talk about. And I never got to witness it too much in my boxing career. But the old saying is, one day you got it and the next day you don't, and this is just for athletes in general. This happens. It's one of those phenomena that occur in sports, not just boxing, but sports. Okay. And I haven't really witnessed it much in my career, but for the first time ever, when Errol Spence did his last performance, I think we saw it, man.
See, this is where we at with it. Keith Thurman, I'm sick and tired of hearing this shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? You can miss me with that shit. I know that's an old, antiquated term, but you can miss me with that motherfucker, just like your ponytail. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, you have to take things in consideration, Keith Thurman. That people were saying you looked a certain way in there with Manny Pacquiao. They were saying that about you when you're supposed to use in the casino into the AM and you had a big fight coming up. You went in there and got dropped by a man that was 50,000 years old. How is that possible, Keith Thurman? And then you want to quote people and talk about one day you have it, one day you don't. Well, guess what? Guess what, Thurman? Guess what? You want to sit up here and pretend like that wasn't an Errol Spence in that ring? How do you even know that wasn't Errol Spence? How do you know that was a clone? You never gave the man an opportunity to fight when you was unified champion. You had the WBC and the WBA. You never gave Errol Spence an opportunity to fight. You know what I'm saying? You never did. You was, y'all was on the same promotional banner. You never gave him. Like, I'm not sweating it. I'm not, I'm not really sweating what you didn't do. But for you all to be on this mission, you know what I'm saying? Once again, on this excursion to sit up here and discredit Crawford by saying that, oh, that wasn't Errol Spence. Well, who have you seen the caliber of Crawford? And I might be asking you this in hindsight, being that the fight already happened. But let me ask you this. Did you even respect that Crawford was better than what you seen in there? Probably not, because that's why a lot of people shocked. I bet y'all moving forward, I bet you would understand one thing. I bet you would never play around with basically taking a fighter for granted again. I bet you won't sit up here when that conversation come up and y'all want to underappreciate a fighter and act like they ain't fought nobody and they up here knocking people out. I bet you won't take it for granted again. Once they're on the radar, you better treat them like they're on the radar. You know, Keith Thurman, you looking at it like, oh, that wasn't an Errol Spence. But see, you're not looking at it as if Crawford made him look like he wasn't the Errol Spence that everybody's used to seeing him be. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole deal right here. Crawford was just that great. Crawford was just that great that when he stepped in there with Errol Spence, he made him look like he was nobody. Because for one, he trained for a fight as if he was going in there to face a unified champion. He trained for a fight that, he as if Errol Spence never had that car accident. He trained to go run roughshod over Errol Spence, to go dominate, to go annihilate. That's what he chose to do. He trained hard like that. Who does a pre-camp if their mindset is not on kill mode? Who does a pre-camp to the pre-camp? Who does that? Unless you have that kill or be killed mentality. And the only way you're going to kill me is that you catch me lacking. And right now, my mindset ain't in that type of zone. I'm going to do as much as I possibly can to make this shit happen. That is going in there and destroying a fighter that's supposed to be the more popular pick. He made that man look like he was nobody. And y'all still in shock. Even Keith Thurman, you got fighters up here sounding goofy as shit, acting like, oh, well, that wasn't the Errol Spence. What about the Terrence Crawford though? Did that look like the Terrence Crawford you usually seeing? Because he was knocking cats out. So if he knocked Errol Spence out, and that's 11 straight knockout, then why aren't y'all saying, well, we expected Crawford to go in there since he'd been knocking his opponents out to go in here and destroy Spence? But yet y'all talking about, oh, that didn't look like the Spence that we used to know. Let's keep it rocking and rolling, strolling.
What you are today is not the fighter that you were yesterday. I mean, I don't think it's his fault. I think injuries and life caught up to the kid. I don't really think it's his fault. It just happens like that. Ben Getty told me this stuff growing up, man. One day you got it, one day you don't. And he used to tell me this story with some of his fighters where he would tell them like, hey, I'm not working your next corner. Like he would see something and he knows like, hey man, I recommend you're done, but of course they're not done. They go change camps, they make some fights happen and they just get beat up a few times before they hang up the gloves and they just get used as an opponent and their real career is over. Say what you want about Keith Thurman. Y'all can say what you want, but a lot of real ones know Thurman versus that Spence, same scenario, bro. How do you get out of the 6th round? When you got somebody who wants to prove themselves, somebody who is looking forward to the.
I hear you, Keith. I hear you hating. You know what I'm saying? How do you get out the 6th round? Well, how do you get put down in the 1st round when you was fighting Manny Pacquiao, son? Huh? How did that happen? How? How are you at a point where many would say you achieved more than Yordenis Ugas, being a unified champion, right? Yordenis Ugas has several losses on his record, but yet Ugas was able to step in there with Manny Pacquiao, and he did not face a knockdown. So you trying to tell me Ugas is better than you, Thurman? You trying to tell me Ugas is better than you? Because you and Ugas fought Manny Pacquiao that was in his 40s. You were supposed to be the man. You know what I'm saying? You were supposed to be one of the division. You was the unified champion. You were the man. You was the one to beat. You got wins over the Danny Garcias and the Errol Spence. You do. I mean, not Errol Spence, freaking Sean Porter. You got wins over Danny Garcia and Sean Porter, man. You did what you were supposed to do. Well, when you came back off that hiatus or whatever, and you stepped in there with Manny Pacquiao, you was on the canvas. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I guess it was one day you got it, and one day you don't.
The biggest pay-per-view fight of their, of their career, which Crawford did, which is what I tip his hat off to. I tip his hat off to the fact that he stayed consistent. But there's two things about you talking about me, bud. Okay. There's two things. Thing number one, the year that they wanted me to fight you was the year that I was supposed to fight Pacquiao, and everybody knew why I didn't fight you, okay, on your end. If they didn't relay the message, they said, look, we're not mad at you. I mean, look, we're offering you this much for Crawford. They're offering you that much for Pacquiao. I mean, the fact that you're going to take Pacquiao, it is what it is, right?
Okay, I'm glad he mentioned that. Now we're talking about the business aspect, and he pretty much took Pacquiao, right? Pacquiao is the one where his bag was a bit heavier, where he was getting paid the most. So he chose to avoid, or what's that word I'm looking for? Because both of them has about four characters, syllables in it. Let me see. You got avoid, and then that other word, duck. You know what I'm saying? You decide to duck Terrence Crawford and go to Pacquiao. I get it. An older, antiquated Pacquiao. And when you could have fought a younger Terrence Crawford, I got it. Quack, quack. I get it, that Keith Thurman. You want to talk about it was money fighting Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? I get it. I get it. It was all about money to face Pacquiao and not the younger Crawford. I get it, Keith Thurman. You know what I'm saying? You ducked Terrence Crawford. I get it.
Right. Now, after the Barrios fight, I was all ready to fight you. You're the one who just doesn't want somebody to have a tune-up, shake off the dust, keep everything moving. You a stay busy fighter, kid. What do you got? 40 wins? I got 10 less fights than you, homie. We come from the same Olympic year, bro. So I just, I could have fought you any day of the week after February last year, bro. We could have fought in July, August, September, October, period. And you did fight in October. You fought some nobody that we didn't care about, bro. So
let me somewhat grab this assist. He said that Crawford fought in October. Nobody cared about. So I want to help Keith Thurman understand something. Understand that you did this interview under the pretense that you felt that you would be in a sane sense of psychological stability. I get it. And you came here with the full intent to respond to what Crawford has said about you. I understand you are feeling some type of way, but the guy that you're talking about, right? I know that you want to say, okay, well, he fought in October. He fought somebody. The fact of who he fought, why he was in the welterweight division, had plenty of time for you to fight him. Now you want to say that Crawford didn't want you to take a tune-up Before, when it was Manny Pacquiao, you wanted to go over there and fight Manny Pacquiao because it was more money. Then when you have lost your title and you want people to come to your rescue after Mario Barrios, you want to say, I'll fight you, but I want to tune up first. That's what I want. I want to tune up first. Man, God damn it, you wanted to have it your way, huh? You just got an excuse for everything, Keith Thurman. You want to have everything your way. First, you go over there to the next money with, for the most money, which you want to fight an older fighter, and that's a duck, man, because you didn't want that young killer, bro. You didn't want Crawford. Period. I get it. You didn't. And then turn back around when your title is no longer in your possession. You want to go look for somebody else to make another bag off of with inactivity. And that inactivity, you try to go over here and say, yeah, you know what? I know I haven't fallen in a minute, but guess what? I want to be my the most. I want to be at my best when I step in there. So I got to get a tune up. Man, come on, bro. Nobody's going to cater to you like that, Keith. Nobody, bro. Nobody's going to cater to you like that. I can see if you still had both of the titles, though.
Look, man, I'm not mad at him. If there's anything, I'm not mad at him. Have things been political when he was over there with Bob? Yeah. Are you king of the hill now? Yeah. Do you deserve it? Yeah. Do I still?
Okay, I can respect that. You know what I'm saying? You checked the box on that. You gave the man credit. You know what I'm saying? You gave the credit for saying he's a king of the hill. You know what I'm saying? He did. Are you the man right here? Yeah. He's the man right now. You know what I'm saying? So I respect Thurman for that.
Still think you just beat up almost nobody? You didn't beat up a real champion, kid.
And this is where it becomes delusional, acutely delusional for Keith Thurman. He's trying to insinuate that a fighter who ended up having more belts than Keith Thurman was able to earn it in welterweight division. His name being Errol Spence Jr., who had the WBC, the WBA, and the IBF title. And Keith Thurman comes around and say some bullshit that you didn't fight a real champion. What the fuck is going on with human beings? I don't really know. You remember when I calling people sea blind? It's the reason why I was calling people sea blind. They see shit and they process it and they know what it is, but they're blind. They're blind. They see it playing out in front of them. They know what it is, man. They're able, they're age appropriate, they're competent enough, and then they act like they want to selectively turn a blind eye to it. I'm talking about mentally. They see it with their own fucking eyes, but they're blind. Blind is when the decision they make internally, psychologically, to ignore what they just seen and process it as being truth. That's Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman is saying there wasn't a real champion in there. What kind of dumb shit you talking about? What kind of dumb shit are you talking about, Keith? Keep saying there wasn't a real champion in there. Then who else was in there? How the fuck did Crawford become undisputed if it wasn't a real champion? A man makes another champion look so bad in this era of AI and technology. He makes him so bad that these brains out here are so corrupt. I think a lot of them stay on social media too long and they end up like Thurman. You know what I'm saying? They end up like Thurman, bro. We can't say Thurman is pugilistica, the early stages of pugilistica dementia. We can't say that because, you know what I'm saying, he's been inactive so many years. But he's going to come around and say that you didn't be the real champion. That's disrespectful. That's probably, what Crawford know already. Like, that's why he called him a hoe. Because you're going to say the man didn't fight a real champion. He absolutely fought him. Who was the champion that was fighting in the first round? When people was like, oh man, this is going to be good. It's Errol Spence looking sharp. And then from rounds 2 through 9, things changed. In the first round, that was Errol Spence. From the second round to the 9th round, that was a clone. Nobody can identify who's in the ring. And you're trying to tell me y'all not confirming that y'all gave Crawford that much power. Y'all pretty much gave this man that much power that he can beat your favorite fighter and basically hit reset on your entire thought process and what you believe you seen and what you didn't see. You giving that man too much power.
You know, everybody knows you put Thurman in the ring on that same night. Thurman wipes Spence. That Errol gets wiped by many people. Okay. And then you put me in there with you, kid, on that same night in Vegas, bro. It ain't the same fight, man. That's what I was telling you the next morning, bro.
So pretty much his whole scenario is that if Keith Thurman goes in there and fight that same Spence, which he said there wasn't a Spence that fought Crawford, he wipes him out. He destroys him. It's kind of confusing because he said there wasn't a Spence. He didn't fight a real champion. So it couldn't have been the Spence that was supposed to fight Crawford because he was champion. He was. He's on the pound for pound list. There's various pictures just floating around him. That was a Spence right there. That was a Spence, real talk. But you know, you do have movies out like cloning Tyrone. So I don't know it was any out, you know, cloning Spence. I don't know. I don't know if he actually was picked up or he, you know, something happened with the car accident that we don't know about, that they took him down there to that facility and cloned him. I don't know. But what I don't understand is that when Keith said you put me in there with the Bud Crawford that fought that particular Spence, and it's a different fight. And it's hard for me to digest it because you went in there with Mario Barrios, who really truly hasn't acclimated to the 147-pound division and had multiple fights up there yet. Bud Crawford has. He has. So you went in there and went the distance with a 140-pounder. You did, Keith. You went in there with a 140-pounder. And you're saying that you would do all this and that. Look, remember, this is a 140-pounder that was stopped by a 130-pounder. Mario Barrios was stopped by a 130-pounder. That 140-pound former champion moved up to 47. You know what I'm saying? You went the distance with this guy. But you are trying to sell this to the people that you would go in there and give Crawford one of his best competitive challenge if it was you on that night. You got to understand one thing, Thurman. They say Crawford performance was the best they ever seen. They saying that wasn't the Crawford we used to seeing. So you're trying to say you're going to fight a Crawford that they wasn't used to seeing at all, and attempt to go in there and not end up just like the Spence that we seen get annihilated? Bro, you will have a motherfucking second loss on your record. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about goddamn records. You have a second loss on your record, and you would have been stopped. You would have been stopped, right? Man, Manny Pacquiao dropped you in the first round. What the fuck you think Crawford would have did to your body?
You already know. I know you know. I know people that see you to your face. I've heard you talk respect. Man, we got interviews with you on ESPN saying Keith Thurman is a tougher fight than Errol Spence Jr., man. Do what you want with your career. You ain't ever going to fight me. That's fine. Spence never really wanted it. You don't ever really want it.
And Keith Thurman, you never really wanted it with either one of them. Let's be clear. Let's be clear, people. Let's hold Keith Thurman accountable. He didn't fight. He didn't want that fight with Crawford. Spence. One thing about it, Spence was asking you every window he had in front of the lens. He asked. He wanted to fight you, and it never happened. You didn't want to fight Crawford because you went over there and fought an older Pacquiao, for which you say it was more money. So there you have it, bro. Like, come on, man. You didn't want to fight them either.
Fine, man. You know, this ain't Leonard Hearns, I guess. We ain't in that real generation where everybody who's really about it is about it anymore, okay? It's fine, bro. Cash your check. Be king of Omaha, baby. I'm so blessed to witness greatness out of our generation, period. I live this life, I walk this life. You live this life, you walk this life. And I'm proud of you, kid. I'm proud of you.
What's puzzling is the fact that he keep mentioning kid. Being that Crawford is older than him, he's 34 years old, and Crawford's 35 years old, about to be 36 this year. So I know, I know. I mean, I grew up in the South. Now I grew up for real. I know, but really down here in the South, that's an old ass clandestine term. I mean, you won't even find that echo in the cave. You know what I'm saying? You find any cave down here in Georgia and say kid, that shit would not echo at all. It won't echo at all, bro. I don't know if Keith Thurman's trying to say that to be disrespectful, to say, hey kid, he called Errol Spence back in the day live on Showtime. He said, yeah, I used to watch this boy, this little boy, come up, this, that, and the other. That's just the way he is. It's kind of idiosyncratic with this dude, man. At the end of the day, he's a different type dude. He does have a mouthpiece though. But at the end of the day, man, it's certain twists and turns that you trying to put out here to the people, and you forgetting what you did, Thurman. You forgetting that you didn't want to fight either one of these guys. So now you find it convenient to come back in 2023 and believe that you are a worthy opponent because you were the former unified champion. You were. You feel like you are a worthy opponent right now. You need a Crawford. You want him to bless you. And he's saying, no, man, y'all hoes are never, I mean, never fight these for these titles. I know that kind of hurt you a little bit, Keith. Even your ponytail came back a little bit. Your ponytail, you look back there, that shit was at least about 4 or 5 inches of shit. Your ponytail, it grew back after you heard that shit.
That's the thing that my meditation does. I don't hold resentment in my heart no more. I ain't hating on y'all niggas no more. Ain't nothing to hate, man. I got love for you, kid. I got love for you. I got gratitude. I'm grateful for everything, for living this life, man. You don't know how many people, man, they're here today, gone tomorrow. Not just in the fight game, man, but in life, baby. I lost a real one. I lost a real one just a few weeks ago. They just hosted his funeral, bro. And what you don't understand is I wanted to call him 3 weeks before he passed away. But what I said, nah, man, homeboy's busy. I treat him like the celebrity that he is. I treated him like the celebrity that he is. Oh, he's probably got stuff going on in life. He's busy. Now I can't hear that man's voice, man. Life is too short to hate on y'all, man. Be good though. Be good. Be your powerhouse. Do what you want to do with your career, man. You're in a very, very blessed situation. Do what you want to do with your career. You know what I'm saying? Go after Canelo. Make history. Be big. Don't fight the Dannys. Don't fight Thurmans. Whatever, kid. I'm still an active fighter. I love looking for the best fights. And it ain't my fault you the best fight out there. Shoot, it's your fault. But like I said, man, there was some political stuff back when you were with Bob. You're not with Bob no more. You've now fought 2 PBC fighters, bro. But you still ain't seen the one that just is the dog, bro. Everybody else
What's going on, people? Salute to everyone that's in the building. Hit the like button. What's good? Check this out, people. I want y'all to help me understand something, right? I want y'all to help me understand something. Let's look at the hiatus in Keith Thurman speaking highly of himself and how tough and competitive he is. Keith Thurman fought Mario Barrios in Barrios' first fight at 147 pounds. He fought that man in his first fight at 147 pounds. Mario Barrios, man. Out. Keith Thurman, before he fought Mario Barrios, he fought Manny Pacquiao July 2019. Thurman down in round 1, loses a split decision. Before that, he fight January 2019, Josecito Lopez. And prior to that, he fought Danny Garcia March of 2017, right? So if you look at the Mario Barrios fight, Barrios had been beat by Gervonta Davis, who's 30 pounder. You heard what Keith Thurman just said, right? Did y'all hear what he just said? Let me rewind this shit for you.
Bro. But you still ain't seen the one that just is the dog, bro.
He said just as the dog. So Keith Thurman was just a dog. But I'm looking at your box rec, and Mario Barrios' first fight at 147 pounds, who was there to greet him at the door? Who was there to welcome him to the division? Who was there? The one and only Keith Thurman. And God damn it, if you wasn't the freaking former unified champion who's supposed to be the dog, one time you went the distance with Mario Barrios. And God damn it, another thing that eludes my eyesight is the fact that I don't see any knockdowns when you fought Mario Barrios. I don't see any knockdowns, bro. I don't see any knockdowns. Even though you won a UD, a unanimous decision, Mario Barrios was your first fight back since you fought Manny Pacquiao. Mario Barrios was his first fight when he stepped in the welterweight division. Why you didn't dog him out? Seriously, why you didn't dog him out? You know what I'm saying? Why you didn't dog him out, man? Like Crawford was off over a year before he came out there and knocked out David Avanesian. Oh, my bad. That was the guy who you and everybody else said it wasn't nobody. So I'm just curious, you know, when they was talking about Boots Ennis and all that and why he didn't fight, I never heard Thurman name really come up in the you know, the carousel of boxing topics. I never seen or heard your name come up in the conversation. You know, the real dog. I never heard your name pop up, Keith.
Everybody else on their side end of their career, man. What you call it? Porter fought you, kid. Porter fought you and then instantly announced his retirement, bro. Like, you don't go into a fight knowing I don't win this fight. Like, come on, man. The fight was already over, bro. You ask somebody like me, the fight was already over. Nobody's a live dog like Thurman. In these later years, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, I'm going to be the only one that as I get older, y'all going to say, is he still in his prime? Why does that boy fight like he's in his prime?
Keith Thurman, obviously, he has some residual neurological damage going on from an incident that probably took place, I don't know, in his home when he was meditating on top of the mountains. You know how they have them slides, them rock slides. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes them rocks come down, they pretty big, and they slide down them hills. And they pretty much can, if they catch you from behind, they can do some serious damage. That's what I'm thinking about with Keith Thurman. I think he was up there on top of the hill playing a vuvuzela, and he was really zoned out in his meditation. He might have had some psychedelics going on. He might have even had a shaman there next to him. But when that rock, a 2 or 3 or 4, start rolling down that hill and hit Thurman in the back of his fucking head, then he's still a bit loopy right now. Keith Thurman is still a little loopy right now. He said he's still gonna be in his prime. And I'm saying, goddamn, were you in your prime when you just fought Mario Barrios, though? You welcome a fighter to the division for the first time, and you're the former unified king. You used to be the man, homie, and you went the distance with this guy in a lackluster performance, and then you turn around and speak ill of Crawford, saying that pretty much he didn't fight the Errol Spence. That wasn't the Errol Spence. He didn't really fight a champion. You know, that's extremely lunacy on your part. But I know that's a lot that goes on when you have human beings critiquing, especially in a competitive combat sport. You know, you have to look at it like, okay, how healthy is this person? What else is going on with you? What type of supplements did you take prior to this interview? You know what I'm saying? Are you recovering from a contusion or concussion? Do you have signs of CTE that we cannot visibly see from the outside looking in? Please help me myself.
I just want it. I want it on a level that, you know, that I've always wanted it, man. So that's all I really got to say for today's comments on Crawford, you know. But you can just back check his old interviews, bro. You always put respect on my name, kid. You know, and I said that you didn't really, you know, you didn't have an opportunity to fight great 147 fighters. The way you beat Sean, you stopped Sean. Thurman never stopped Sean. Spence dropped Sean, didn't stop Sean. You know, was Sean already giving up in the fight before camp, whatever his mental state was in? But he still gave you a good fight. So that's past, that's like after the fact. If I just assess the fight.
See how words, you know, the tongue is a sword to life and death. And the tongue is one of those tools that people feel that since it's located on their body, they can just use that shit at their own free will. I get it. People sometimes look at the First Amendment and say, you know what, I have the freedom of speech. It's my constitutional right. I get it. And then when you get people like Thurman, in this particular case, the things he's saying, he's hating on a level 10 right now. He's pretty much taken away one of the biggest fights of this year and saying that wasn't Errol Spence. And then he turns around and take away one of his other big wins and stopping Sean Porter. He pretty much tried to highlight or reciprocate what his dad said about him not being well in training camp, but they showed up for that $4+ million paycheck. And also Sean Porter's been on record as clearing that up and basically, you know, telling the truth about that shit. But you still have people that only remember what Kenny Porter said about that fight. So if you're going to get the people that only mentions what Kenny Porter said, they're going to continue to discredit Crawford, who went in there and trained thoroughly, intensively, to go in there and do what he did to Sean Porter. So now we got a group of people who say, you know what? I'm intelligent, but I'm just gonna put that off to the side right quick. I want to act like a big dummy. You know what I'm saying? Like Fred Sanford, you big dummy. I want to play the role as if I truly don't know what the fuck is going on. That's what I get from Keith Thurman. Like, people are ignoring the fact that Crawford is going out here changing. He's basically solidifying results that no one else has done. Like what he did at 140 with the Undisputed, what he did in the 4-belt era, right? Not only that, 2-time Undisputed, changing. Then he the first one to stop Sean Porter, changing, game changer. Then He's not on the first one that stopped Errol Spence, but the way he stopped him, the way he annihilated that man. No one even treated him like that in that facet in a fight. No one, but Crawford did. Crawford made him look bad. Multiple knockdowns in the fight. So you're saying it's okay for us to continue to discredit what Crawford is achieving when he continued to do things that no one else has done. If it was so easy for him to go over here and beat these opponents in the welterweight division, why hasn't anyone did it before Crawford did it? That's my biggest question, Keith. You know what I'm saying, Keith? I mean, why wasn't you that dominant when you was in the welterweight division? You said that you and him was out of the same Olympic year, right? And you mentioned that you had less fights, 10 less fights than Crawford. But yet your achievement has been lesser than Crawford. Your chest plate is lighter than Crawford's. So when that man came into the sport, he was at a lower weight class, beating champions, moved to the next weight class, beat champions, and then came up to where your division at, a division that you were supposed to be the man long before Crawford was in attendance. And you up here talking about Sean Porter didn't do this in training, didn't do that. I mean, what about you, bro? You saying you the dog, but Adrian Broner up here telling people that he had to kick you out the casino because you was up there in the AM and you had a big ass fight with Manny Pacquiao the next day.
Right. You had a great performance, my man. You know, the way you just dominated Spence, even though he didn't look like he had one title, let alone 3 titles, but the way that you dominated Spence, you know, my favorite punch was that uppercut that you dropped him with. That was my favorite punch of the whole fight. Because that's where I gave you your new nickname, Crafty Crawford. All right. I gave that to you when you beat Porter.
No, nigga, we don't want to hear no Crafty Crawford. That sound like something a second grader came up with on the first day of school, nigga. We ain't using that for no goddamn Crawford, nigga. We got him that's a clone killer. You know what I'm saying? The clone killer is much more aggressive. And it represents how he been going up here, annihilating the 147-pound division. All that crafty shit, man. Save that for a cheese commercial. That shit don't ring bells, man. What the fuck you talking about? Crafty Crawford. We ain't making no cheese commercial out of Omaha. Omaha ain't made for no cheese.
But you showed it to me with that uppercut when you beat Spence. And then you just played the fundamentals, man. Stuck him with the jab. I haven't seen a jab land that many times since my mentor, Winky Wright. Okay. When Winky Wright beat Tito Trinidad, he made Trinidad look like a bobblehead. He was beating Spence up with the jab. Jab. Double jab. Jab it to jab it jab. Jab it to jab it jab. Boom, bam. You know, I mean, basics, fundamentals, solid.
Yeah, let's highlight the bum bam. Because that's exactly what I felt when Manny Pacquiao hit you and you went down. Boom, bam.
Ruthless, in shape. There was a lot of great things I saw that night. But like I said, man, it is what it is, man. You know, your legacy is your legacy, kid. It's already done. You made it. You did it. Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? So that's why it is up to you, kid. It's up to you. There's a few other things. I'm going to have to see what I'm going to do. But this is what people kind of forgot, man. Everybody can say whatever they want politically, this or that, yaze, who's Thurman, who is Thurman? Bro, people in the industry really know. I was avoided before I ever had a title. Now I don't have a title, I'm avoided again. I'm a threat. I'm the toughest fight that anybody can have at 147. I'm the fighter that said, I'm not afraid to let it go. And if you can beat me, beat me. And like I told everybody after that.
I concur. You was the fighter who put that out there. I concur. Also, just like you said earlier, you say one day you got it, one day you don't. Well, you know, it's hard for people to think that you're in your prime because you're so inactive. People don't know what Keith Thurman they're going to get. Like I said, you went the distance with Mario Barrios. You didn't really set the tone like Crawford. Crawford being here setting people's chin. You know what I'm saying? Be setting the tone with people's chin. You complimented him on the uppercut. You complimented him on the jab. We're talking about a fighter who's always constantly, consistently showing you something different. And it all deals with the technical know-how of being a boxer, the sweet science. He continued to do that. So if you had more versatility than Crawford, why are we not seeing it? If you had something to go off of, let's just say you stopped Mario Barrios, then guess what? You would have failed behind Gervonta Davis, but people would have looked at you like, okay, Thurman looked pretty pretty good coming off. You know what I'm saying? Coming off that layoff to fight Mario Barrios. He looked pretty decent. He stopped him. But that's not the one time that we used to seeing, brother. You know what I'm saying? That's not the one time we used to seeing. And you say how they're gonna say you still in your prime and all that, but how are you gonna constantly get up to that level again if you have all these long hiatuses, and then you're steadily up here trying to get a big fight with Crawford, and you acknowledge yourself that Crawford is active. He's an active fighter. But when it comes time, let's just say he want to fight you out the arrow. Are you going to be in shape? Because at one point in time, it seems like you was in shape. People was goddamn showing your abdominal region. It looked like you was on point, bro. It looked like you was training for something. It might have been your shadow. That's an in-house fight. Real talk. It might have been the first time they was going to have you fight your shadow and shit. I don't know. Because that's the only motherfucker that was with you doing them hiatuses. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro.
Fight when I said that you defeated Spence, Keith Thurman ain't never been defeated. I fought Manny Pacquiao one-handed. Man, don't make me call my doctor and show y'all the dates of when I first went into his office and was advised to have hand surgery before 2019.
Let's talk about these injuries, right? Real talk, people. And shout out to the hottest chat in the MFN game. Let's talk about this, right? Let's talk about injuries. Who the fuck is Crawford? Because I'm thinking to myself, how many fights has he pulled out for injury? How many fights has he made an excuse for the way he looked because he had injury? What is this dude built of? You know what I'm saying? What is his skeletal? What is his exoskeletal frame look like? I don't know. Is it glowing? If you can put him in the dark and shine some light, do certain parts of his physical anatomy glow? What are we talking about, bro? Real talk. Because I just never heard that type of anthem be played out. That I got an injury. I'm this, and I'm not saying he don't have injuries. We're talking about somebody who don't have any draws. Right? No draws on his record, no losses on his record. You know what I'm saying? Never gave a fighter step aside money. But yet, I just can't remember when Crawford was pulling out of fights, all these fights he's had at welterweight because of injury. I mean, who is training him? Who's his doctor? Who's his mentor? Who's his life coach? You know what I'm saying? Who is the individual responsible for this man not getting injured, but yet he going in there and still knocking dudes out? How can he maintain such a high level of proficiency in a sport and continue to perform and go in there and get stoppages at a higher weight class? Who's doing that? And then it became time for Crawford to step in there with the so-called man. This was going to be his ultimate challenge. This was time for Spence to finally step in there and prove to the people that he was man down, right? But yet he ended up being man down. Why was Crawford responsible for this? What did he do? How did he do it? Why was his mindset to say, I need a pre-camp before fight camp? Who does that? If he doesn't take Errol Spence serious, he wouldn't have had a pre-camp. So we need to start accrediting Crawford for having a pre-camp and saying, I'm taking this man like he's 100,000% healthy. He never had an accident. He is the boogeyman. He's strong. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking it. And when you get a mindset of a champion that thinks that way, that I'm still going to go through this and push myself to the limit. without even believing that this man has any residual neurological damage. He never had an accident. He never had that other accident or that other accident. I'm going to treat this like I supposed to treat it because that's who I am. I mean, that's a dangerous motherfucker, dog. That's a dangerous motherfucker. I don't think Keith Thurman, along with a lot of other people like Diddy James and Errol Spence, I don't think they truly, you know, they don't allow themselves to be open-minded, bro. They don't allow themselves to understand the severity on how lethal of a pugilist Crawford is. I don't think they do, bro. I don't.
I fought 2 fights in 2019, then had my hand surgery. So like it's whatever, man. But we know the life that we live as fighters, man. This is a different life. This is a different topic. Being in the fight game, going toe to toe, blow for blow. You know, I'm 34. I'm not 24, man. I'm a father now. My ego has shifted, but the warrior in me is always about it. You know, I don't gotta prove nothing because I know you know. I know you know.
See, just like they say with Crawford, they always acting like the Crawford need an update. You know, before he even had the Kell Brook fight, no one was really respecting who he had contended and stopped up to that point. They were still saying that he don't deserve to fight no Errol Spence because of what Errol's already did in the welterweight division, not in the sport of boxing, in multiple divisions, what he's been able to do in the division. At that time, he still haven't picked up the WBA title. That is the strange part about this shit, you know, but they felt that he was the man. He was the man to beat. He was the one to go in there and give you that Blaxican style, that come forward pressure. He had one of these beautiful, educated jabs. I get it. I do. I understand that shit. I do. I really do, man. You know what I'm saying? I get it. I do. I get it. I get his boxing. I get, you have some individuals that's been through various fight camps. They've been through the hot, at the top of the pinnacle, championship pinnacle. And their mindset is what it is. Keith Thurman's mindset is what it is. He can think the way he thinks. Don't mean he right. Doesn't mean he right. But when it comes down to Crawford, they never gave him credit. He had to fight a common opponent of Spence. He got Kell Brook. No, Kell Brook was shot. He was wrapped. He was done once he finished with Errol Spence. It wasn't enough. Then Crawford had to listen to the people, sit up here and devalue the shit out of him, discount him, discredit him, denounce anything that he had going on with Kell Brook. Oh, that wasn't anything special. So what? That was he supposed to do. Okay. He gets Sean Porter, reputable, respected, certified, always come in shape, grimy, gritty, slimy, head to head. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Helmet himself will make it dirty. Went in there and had a damn good fight with Spence. Lost a split decision. He gets the opportunity to go in there and fight Crawford. Of course, the people still calling for Crawford to fight a common opponent. This would be the second common opponent of Errol Spence. And he goes in there and stops the man. He does it in a fashion prior to the round that Spence had earned the knockdown. He stops him around 10. Sean Porter was knocked down in round 11 when he fought Spence. Is that just a coincidence that he stopped David Avanesian in the 6th round after David Avanesian was stopped by Edis Kavalaxis in the 6th rounds? Is it coincidence that he stopped Errol Spence? He stopped Errol Spence in the 9th round. Prior to the round, he stopped Sean Porter. Is it coincidence? Is it just me? I'm just serious. Is it just me? Is it the grease? Is the temperature too high? I'm just curious. Is it coincidence that he's going in here doing this stuff? But people want to sit up here and no, you just got to relax and give a man his credit and stop trying to come up with all these damn roundabout excuses. Nigga ain't trying to hear that shit. Not from you naysayers and not from Keith Thurman especially.
You used to talk about it, So it is what it is, bud. Shout out Omaha, you know, King of Omaha. It is what it is, bud. Say whatever you want to say. Go do a few more podcasts. Go get this easy check. Go get this easy check real quick. I ain't mad at you, kid. He wants to smoke. He wants to get slapped up. He wants the money too. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different ways to get blessings in life. You know what I mean? So you gotta take your blessings when you can get them. You know, if you want to do other things with your career, that's on you, man. I ain't never gonna be mad.
Keith Thurman right now is just going through a retirement speech. At the end of the day, you have to understand exactly what I'm thinking. You have to understand on why I present this shit to Keith Thurman the way I do. Because at one point in time, you was considered the man, but that's long over. You have to understand that it's not coincidence. Like I put it out there again, it's not coincidence on how Crawford has been going about proving the naysayers absolutely wrong. It's not coincidence that he hears what they're saying, and it probably more so drive him to go into these fight camps with an added motivation to make this shit happen. But let it be known, y'all. They said this man had to fight a common opponent. You heard Keith Thurman sit up here and fall in line with all the other naysayers and critics and want to say that wasn't at the Errol Spence. And Keith Thurman took it a step further to say that wasn't a real champion. That wasn't a real champion. Okay, cool. Is it a real champion that we've seen Crawford when they saying he need to fight a common opponent of Errol Spence? He goes in there and annihilates Kell Brook, who was a common opponent of Errol Spence. No one had a problem when Kell Brook dropped down from 160 to fight Errol Spence for to defend his IBF title, because Errol Spence was a mandatory in 8 months, and they wouldn't grant that man an extension to make sure he was 100% healthy going in there. So in the meantime, Errol Spence got the shit done. Was it coincidence, y'all, when Crawford goes in here and does what he does with these damn opponents? Was it coincidence that he stopped David Avanesian, who had already been stopped by Igis Kavalauskas, a common opponent in Crawford? Okay, a common opponent in Crawford. But Igis Kavalauskas stopped David Avanesian in 6, and Crawford stopped him in 6. Was it coincidence, y'all? Was it a coincidence that Sean Porter, who's never been stopped before, Terrence stopped this man 1 round prior to the round that Sean Porter was knocked down with Errol Spence Jr.? He stopped him in round 10. Sean Porter was dropped in round 11. Is it coincidence that Terrence Crawford stopped Errol Spence Jr. in round 9, a round less than Sean Porter was stopped when Terrence Crawford fought him? Pretty much, when you think of these type of ordeals or situations that play out, right? You have to give that person that's out there being the delegator, which is Terrence Crawford. You have to really process that shit. Like, he stopped Errol Spence 1 round before he stopped Sean Porter. And if you tie it together, wasn't Errol Spence out here saying that Sean Porter was a shell of himself? So basically, when he stopped Sean Porter in the 10th round, he was trying to convince everybody who would listen, and Mike Tyson, that his daddy said he wasn't doing this and that in training. So what did Terrence Crawford do? He goes in there and stops Errol Spence in the 9th round. This didn't have shit to do with his training. Supposedly everything was going well. People was hyping it up. They was talking about Bud may potentially get stopped. How's Bud going to handle the pressure? How is he going to handle the jab? How is he going to handle all that shit? How? That's all you heard. I don't think he can do it. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's in over his head. I don't think he can handle Spence. Spence is too much of a dog. He's the boogeyman. He walks around at like 165, 175. He's too big. Terrence Crawford too light in the ass. All this was precipitating. And Crawford had to take that shit along with him while he was on them runs, while he was goddamn embedded, locked in. You know what I'm saying? Zoned in. He had to put all that into consideration heading into that fight with Errol Spence, and he stops him one round before he stops Sean Porter, the very same fighter that he was saying that was a shell of himself to basically discredit Crawford's performance value and getting that result, be the first man to knock Sean Porter out. It's just a coincidence he's doing all this shit? It's just a coincidence? It can't be a coincidence. He's going in here doing this shit to people. Is it a coincidence that he has all stoppages at welterweight? Is it coincidental, Keith? Is it coincidental that you would sit up here and say he didn't be the real champion? Are y'all processing this shit? Sometimes you have to stop talking and just let your mind do the talking. You know what I'm saying? Because your mind doing the talking, you can still hear it. You know what I'm saying? Only you can hear it. That's just that's the privacy of it all. You know what I'm saying? You have to sit and listen like, damn, let me process this shit he just said. Let me go back and see and listen privately at to what Keith Thurman was saying. Because like he said, when Keith Thurman was the man, he said nobody wouldn't want to fight him, right? When he was the man. But we all know he wouldn't fight Errol Spence. We all know that Keith Thurman told Errol Spence to get a belt. We all know Errol Spence told Crawford to get a belt. You know what I'm saying? That's what they said. But then when Errol Spence get a belt, Keith Thurman don't fight him. I guess he forgot about all that in this interview. I guess 34 is kind of old when you box, huh?
Mad at you, man. I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of Danny. I'm proud of Mikey. I'm proud of Errol. I'm proud of Sean. I'm proud of the Bronze Bomber. I'm proud of the Russell family. Okay. I'm proud of everyone I ever met in this sport that lives this life and has done something and made a name out of something, because I remember you, kid. I remember when you was a kid, just like me. And this right here, this red, white, and blue, this life we live was nothing but a dream. I remember them days. Remember them days. And that's why I'm different. That's why I'm different, because I'll never forget. And I'll always put my blood, sweat, and tears into this beautiful, aggressive, lovely sport that we call boxing, baby. Tweet whatever you want, homie.
Okay. He said tweet whatever you want. I'm pretty sure he has no problem doing that, Keith. But shout out to Deion Washington. My brother in the building, man. What's going on with it, Deion, man? Great work, man. Great work. You out there been getting it in, man. Great work, dog. You know what I'm saying? Great work you putting in. Jessica on deck, what's good? Spence was mad when Bud stopped Porter. He was, man. So the fact that he was out here trying to sell that shit to the people, that Sean Porter was a shell of himself. He wasn't even in his, competitive spirit. But when he stepped in there and fought Errol Spence, I'm like, that's hating ass shit right there. It's hating to me that Keith Thurman, believes that he can dress it up any way he feels like, and the people believe him. That's what Keith Thurman feels like. Keith Thurman feels like that he can say what he said in the early part of that interview and mention that, yeah, Terrence Crawford didn't fight a real champion. That's basically attempting to wipe away the entire shit. That would make somebody like Crawford call you a hoe. Y'all going up here trying to wipe away the entire performance that happened July 29th, the massacre that played out. You're trying to wipe it away and make it seem like it never happened. Why? Because that wasn't Errol Spence. That was Tyrone. He got cloned. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened. That wasn't, I could have beat that Errol Spence. I could have did that. I could have did this. Okay. You know what I'm saying? The referee was back there with both fighters. Their team was there. Maybe y'all should ask Diddy James, did he believe that was his fighter that was in the ring getting his ass beat? He would probably tell you, yeah, that was him. But if it would have been me, because I was in shape. It would have been me. I would have took over. If they would have had a way that he could sit out and I could take over, I would have been a problem for Crawford. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He knew that was Spence. He knew. He knew that was his fighter, the clone. You know what I'm saying? Don't get mad at us because y'all didn't download the correct data. So Thurman won't go on here and be talking crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's y'all damn fault. And Keith Thurman, whatever you own, I don't know if you up there and you went on a freaking a voyage, because I know you love going on top of ridge lines and mountains, but you need to stay away from them poppy seeds. Somebody need to goddamn chaperone Keith Thurman, because he's going on here at only 34 years old and he's saying some outlandish shit. Somebody need to chaperone him. Micromanage. Jamar said, always thought Porter started punching that floor during his fight with Bud because he knew he was fighting the best in the game. Hey, Jamar, talk that shit, man. Jamar on deck in the building. Everyone can see that Sean Porter was frustrated on that night. He started punching the canvas. The canvas was not a fourth man in the motherfucking fight. The canvas was just a layer for the fighters to step on and move and you know, without slipping and falling. You know what I'm saying? To represent the sponsors, the promotion, and everything else. That's all the canvas was there for. The canvas didn't see that coming. The canvas has endured a lot. They used to being stepped on. But I don't think it's been too many times where a fighter just started to punch the shit out of them. And they up here trying to get the ref's attention. Like, ref, this shit some dirty shit. What the fuck you going on? Why this nigga punching me? Damn. This nigga already stepping on me for goddamn, 10 rounds already. Damn. The fuck? Do your damn job, man. Porter was the better fighter in the Spence fight. Yeah, I don't know if I entirely agree with him being the better fighter, because the better fighter in the eye of the storm would have been able to avoid that left hook by Spence. I know when you get complacent and you get settled in to fight in a certain way, which Porter did, he was giving him the straightforward, I'm saying, head to head, mano a mano type Porter. That's what he was giving Spence. But in the eye of the storm, in the 11th round, when Spence landed the left hook, Sean Porter should have been more defensively sound and not just welling away and basically ultimately get caught with a shot that changed the outcome. You know what I'm saying? It changed the outcome of the fight. Because we all know if Sean Porter would have upset Errol Spence Jr., oh man, that would have been crucial. And we know they would have got a rematch somehow, some way. It would have been a rematch set, but that would have been crucial. Sean Porter would have picked up those belts, man. It would have been crucial. And then we don't know if he would have went on to fight the WBA champion at the time. We don't know what would have happened. I'm pretty sure it would have been a rematch, if anything, because it's an in-house fight. But it really would have changed a lot, moving forward on how they was going to run this undisputed. It would have changed, because Errol would have went in there for a rematch with one loss already. It's not saying it couldn't happen, because we seen Jamel Charlo freaking take a L, prior to his undisputed freaking run. We seen it. It can happen. But I just look at the 147-pound welterweight division having a lot more lions on the hunt doing that welterweight undisputed. And that it was a lot more lions, man, a lot more hyenas, wild dogs, on the path on that welterweight undisputed. So yeah, he got away with one. You know what I'm saying? I can't say he was the better fighter. I can't say Sean Porter was a better fighter, but he was giving it the Errol Spence. And furthermore, he should have been more attentive in those championship rounds, not to get caught with anything crazy. And then check this out. You know, Spence did land a shot, but he didn't knock out Porter. He didn't flatline him. That was so crazy hearing these people saying, what was going to happen to Crawford. I mean, he didn't flatline Porter. But at least when Crawford get these TKOs, right, they don't have to be flatlining and sunbathing under the lights like Avanesian. They be in a bad place whenever the referee step in with Crawford is the one who's dealing out the punishment. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they be in a bad place. In a bad place. But y'all hold this shit down, man. It's already Wednesday. Big shout out to y'all today, man. Hope y'all have a wonderful day. Those of you that's headed to work in about 7 hours. You know what I'm saying? About 7 hours, 8 hours. You know what I'm saying? Those of you that's heading into the workforce, man, hope y'all have a safe day out there. And go out there and make that money. And big shout out, palms down, salute to the hottest chat in the MFing game, A-Side Official. You already know. We'll do it again another day. I'm out.
Left jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss. Now you counting stars. Should've practiced more. Should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports,
subscribe.